Hi, my name is Enrico. Thank you for the people that have read my screenplay. I kind of took I took some things I've read and some things I've been adjacent to and things I experienced and distilled it into like this fictional like storyline. I think the underlying emotions are things that are real and the things are fictional. Um, there's one part that I think it's sort of inspired by Jim James's life story. But living in I have I have known someone who was kind of porn adjacent. I lived in a valley too. It's interesting. I had this girl I was kind of dating, and she was like, I went to the parking garage and I'm shooting a porn video. I think the LA porn scene's kind of like gone down a little bit because of the internet and the rule that you have to wear condoms. But it's still there, right? I've known sex workers, so we took these casualties. We took these casualties in our unit, and like our unit was we deploy in like little teams and packages. Like we don't all just deploy together, and then a lot of us were like distributed. Even when we got there, we're distributed all over like the province, El Alhambra province. So there's like you volunteer for things called FAPS, Fleet Assistance Program, and then like you go out. People go out to smaller FOBs and the bigger FOBs, and people are kind of like all over the place, right? So like we took these casualties, and everybody flew into Camp Fallujah for the ceremony, and like I think there was a lot of like hand wringing over like people that actually knew the guys, like worked with them. You're like, oh, I wish I was there because like you could have done something different. And the fact of the matter is, you probably could not, right? So I could have saved them. I could have done that. So then there was all these rumors. We call it scuttlebutt. There's all these weird terms that the Marine Corps uses that are old naval terms. Marine Corps is kind of more naval than a naval. It's more naval than a naval and more like army than the army. It's like the extreme of everything, right? So like people were talking about like what happened. Like there was all these rumors, and then everybody's like, "Oh, it's Captain Gomez." So Captain Gomez was our captain, and he's a fucking douchebag. Everybody hated this guy. So the Marine Corps theory of leadership is you lead from the front, right? Like you're the last one to leave the building at work. When you have your guys do push-ups, besides boot camp, right? You do push-ups with them, right? That's the thing. You lead from the front. Besides boot camp or drone instructing, everything is you lead from the front. If they're running 10 miles, you're running 10 miles, and you're at the front. You can't make your troops do anything that you can't do. Physically, mentally, whatever. Even in the Marine Corps officer training, it's longer than ours. It's longer than ours. They're supposed to be in better shape. If you're telling me to do 20 pull-ups, you got to be able to do 30. That's the sort of theory of leadership. Captain Gomez was not like this. We'd go on runs, and he'd stop, and he'd be like, we're going to do something different and do push-ups and all this stuff. And it's like, the real thing is, like, he wasn't a good runner. He was a bad runner. You know what I mean? He just wasn't really good cardio. He's just a douchebag. So Trejo was driving this vehicle, and apparently it was his first time driving it in an operational environment. So they're called MRAPs. They were added to the inventory in the middle of the Iraq War because the IEDs were getting so bad. So they're up-armored vehicle. The Humvees and stuff like that couldn't handle the explosions. So it's a platform that was kind of new to the U.S. inventory. And like the first time you're driving it, it's top-heavy. And he's driving it in an operational environment, that's probably not the first time you're going to be trying something out. It's when you get in the combat zone. And then like the route, people are like, oh, he chose the wrong route because the route had a really bad curve in it. And there's all these like things over it. And I'm sure so we have recovery teams. I'm sure Trejo volunteered for it. I'm sure Trejo McKiskey and I can't remember, there was a female warrant officer in the vehicle too. I know them. They were all probably that volunteered for it, And then there's times you get voluntold. And then the other thing I heard was there were certain people who there was a gunnery sergeant that was in my platoon in the rear communications, and he got himself out of like the recovery teams. And all the troops were like, oh man, these other guys aren't even going. And apparently this gunny said that he had like a wife and kids. And he didn't want to risk his life unnecessarily. Dude, that E4 and E3 has a lot of them are married too. Or they have someone that loves them. They have a mom. Their life matters. So then there was all these things like, oh, well, certain people are like getting themselves out of recovery teams. So they don't have to go outside the fob, and they get to sit inside and just be. It's relatively safer. It's safer, right? Especially in the phase I was in. After the Battle of Fallujah, the Marine Corps fobs got a lot safer. That's what I was told by some intel people. Like it was safer because, like, they didn't want to screw with Marines. Like, the Marine Corps went in and just flattened that city and just killed every... You know, they dropped leaflets and were like, after this day, everybody in that city, you're the enemy. And they just went house to house and just obliterated. The city of Fallujah, anybody who's gone past there, that shit will never recover. It's like, you're like, oh, that's crazy. It's like, the Marine Corps just flattened the city. You know, flattened it. There's fucking rumors of, like, war crimes. There's these grenades called Willie P, white phosphorus, and you can't use them against people. They're for, like, putting in vehicles or tanks to disable a tank or disable a vehicle, but you can't use them against people. So there's, like, they said, like, Marines threw white phosphorus into the building. Who knows, man? Who really knows, right? White phosphorus and burn people alive, you know, all these fucking things. But, I mean, the Marines, when they flattened the city, they were just like, you know. So they hung some contractors. The Iraqis hung some contractors, Blackwater contractors from a bridge, and the contractors were former military, and one of them was a former Navy SEAL who actually trained Demi Moore for G.I. Jane. And he's like a descendant of some Secretary of War back before it was the DOD. So you not only did you kill some guys, you killed some Navy SEAL guy, and you killed some guy that's kind of has a Hollywood connection. It's like the perfect thing to spark a bad U.S. response. You know what I mean? This guy was a celebrity trainer. Oh, and he's the youngest Navy SEAL in history. He finished Navy SEAL training when he was 17, and he was on a reality show. There's a reality show with former Spec Op guys, and he was on it. So it was like the perfect storm. Like they fucking killed these guys. I think they hung him from a bridge, and it's like that one Navy SEAL's like he's the youngest Navy SEAL in history. He has a connection to Hollywood, and you're just like, man, you're gonna get an overwhelming response. And the guy in charge was General Mattis, who's like known for like a freaking like. He's just known for that. Like he's just a war type of guy. You know what I mean? He's like a MacArthur Patton type guy. It's like, oh, it's a perfect fucking thing. So we were told like they don't stand after that. They're like, they don't like to stand and fight with Marines. They're not going to have a firefight with us. They might take pot shots or stuff like that. And that did happen, but they're not going to stand and have an actual fucking fight with a Marine. They learn the difference between the uniforms. They learn the difference of Army, Marines, and they learn how we operate. You know, like certain like British military, they push through the kill zone if they get like ambushed or something like that. They pick up the pieces and move. Or then like Army operates this way. And the Marine, that's like we're taught, hey, dismount, 25, 50 meter checks, find anything in the building. If you see anything, shoot back or something like that. Or just have a more aggressive training. So Trejo dies. His MRAP, it flips into the canal, right? So there's all these things that people are just fucking mad, dude. So one of my friends, Davey, and he had been somewhere else too. Like he wasn't on the fucking, you know, in the unit when he died. And he fucking like, we were in Camp Fallujah. So Camp Fallujah has a general that sits there. So anything with the general, there's all these staff around it. It's like a cottage industry. It's like the general, his aides. There's probably some defense contractors there because they want to suck up to the general and get some fucking contract. It's like a whole fucking entourage. You know, it's like a whole fucking thing. It's like it's like when you see the president move, or I went somewhere with Michelle Obama was doing a speech on it. It's like a whole fucking thing. Communications agency, there's all these fucking things surrounding it. It's like a whole fucking institution, right? So the general's there. So there's like colonels and majors. There's a lot more officers there. So we go in there and there's a sergeant who wasn't in our unit. So in the rear, he wasn't in our unit. So it's like we live with these guys or we go to work with them. We see them on a day-to-day basis. And you have these other Marines who like don't really know them. It's not that they don't care, but it's like you don't know the guy. You don't know him like we know the guy, right? So the sergeant says something about Trejo's in a better place, or he died doing, you know, one of those things. He died doing what he's loved. Fucking Davey like flips the fucking table. Davey's like he's this big Dominican dude from Harlem. He was a Golden Glove. He flips it, and Davey's like an E2 or E3, and usually the Marine Corps is very big on custom and courtesy. Like you don't talk back to someone that'll rank you like that in a different grade, and then the officers would say something like, "Hey, what are you doing? You don't talk disrespect to sergeant. You're gonna get charged." Man, Davey flipped that fucking table. And everybody, the officers just looked, man. He's like, "I don't want to fucking hear that shit." He's like, "I don't want to hear that shit." People were angry, man. People were fucking crying. Like they're so angry they're crying. People are so angry they're crying, man. I saw like one of my friends in boot camp, Ortega, crying. I was like, man, he's this Mexican dude from Chicago. You would just never think someone would cry like that. I don't like to cry in front of people. So I didn't. I held it in. But you saw people fucking crying. You're just like, oh my god. I was like, Ortega's crying. Like, damn, he's a little dude from Chicago, man. You're like, you know, Chi-Town got a certain reputation, but you're like, man, everybody's fucking upset. I think that's what it was. Like people were mad because you're not there, or you could have done something, or like you're like everybody hated Captain Gomez, like this fucking douchebag. You know, he was a fucking asshole, man. He was just an asshole, man. And then one of the officers that died, I can't remember her name. She was an officer everybody liked too. She was a really cool officer. So then it's like fucking Captain Gomez is still running around this fucking asshole, and then like she's fucking dead. She was a good officer, man. Like in the rear, she was a good officer. Like she had us do like go to the YMCA and play with kids, and she came with us. She was a good officer. Like she was a really good leader. So she got saved, and then like, but her hip was broken. So I think she had to get out the Marine Corps. You know what I mean? And then Cheryl McKiskey died, and then people were just fucking upset, dude. There's all these rumors about what happened, and then it became like a female male thing. Some of the people were talking about that. You know, like, so then it was like, oh, they went and saved the female first, because she's a female, and that's how Trejo fucking died. Cheryl McKiskey died, because they tried to get to her first, because she's a female. You know what I mean? And because some guys were saying that, and I was like, you know, I was like, fuck, man, you should be happy someone made it. Someone made it out the fucking vehicle, and not everyone died. You know what I mean? But they're like, they were trying to save her first, man. That's what it is, dude. So Trejo was driving. I think McKiskey was the machine gunner on the top, and then fucking she was like in the passenger seat, like the vehicle commander, right? And everybody, but she was a cool fucking warrant officer. She was fucking cool, man. Everybody loved her, man. She was fucking cool, man. She was cool and a good leader. She was a fucking cool. But there's like somebody like Captain Gomez lives, or then like this douchebag Gunny who said he didn't want to go on any convoys or support teams because he had wife and kids. He didn't want to die, so he got himself out of it. So people were just, it was like just fucking anger, you know, it's like anger, and people were mad. So then I rolled over, and I got to stay. I volunteered to do another tour. So I got like 2 weeks to go home. You got 2 weeks to go anywhere in the world. I went to Iowa to visit a childhood friend named Jessica. Then I went to fucking Oklahoma to be with my kids and stuff, like see my daughter. And then, you get 4 days R&R in the AO, like somewhere in the Middle East, right? So then my fucking R&R, I went 4 days to Qatar, and I got to it was me and this guy Golgis. So he rolled over too. So ironically, Golgis was the guy who jumped in the canal and tried to save them. So then I'm like, oh fuck, now I can get the real fucking scoop. Like, but then I don't want to press him, right? So then I kind of ask about it, and it's like they're like battle buddies. So anywhere you go off the airbase, IUD airbase, you have to be with someone else. We go in groups, and they go in groups and leave you in the neighborhood like a touristy area because we're still on a combat status. So we couldn't just go anywhere we want. I think we met some DIA and Intel guys. They did get to go wherever they want. They have special passes, you know. But the regular like military people, we got passes. You get 2 beers a day on base, and then like I think 2 or 4 beers. You get like drink tickets. You can drink like only a certain amount of drink because you're still technically in combat status. And then like they drop you off at a mall or like a neighborhood, a touristy neighborhood, and then they give you like, you can do whatever you want and then come back and then go back to the base at the night. But while you're there, you have to be with this other person. Like you have to eat with, everywhere you go, you have to go together. So he's like, you have to be with him, right? He's your battle buddy. So I got to spend pretty much 4 days with him, like all the fucking time, right? So I was asking him a little bit, and he was like, you know, because you're like, I was like, man, people were saying like, oh, they want to save the girl first because she's a girl, which you should save the person that's more likely to live, right? Or a person you can get to first. I'm sure in that situation, you save the first person you get to. You're not thinking like, shit, you're just like, I'm pulling people out. The first person I get to, man. So I fucking talked to him, and I asked him about it, and he was like, he talked about it a little bit, and he was like, man, I just couldn't save everybody. And they wanted to give a medal, so you get a medal for it, you know? And he was like, I turned down the medal. He's like, because I couldn't save everybody, man. I felt bad. And then I was like, fuck, dude. And I stopped asking about it. I didn't want to press him, man. You know what I mean? I didn't want to press him. I was like, okay, this guy obviously feels upset. Because I wanted to ask him, so I was like, man, people are saying that, like, people saved the girl first, and they didn't want to, you know, they worried about saving the girl and let the other guys die. And fucking Captain Gomez was a douchebag, letting fucking Trejo drive the first time. And, you know, he was new to the platform. He hadn't driven in the rear. You know, and the route was bad. You know, there's all these fucking things that go. And, oh man, all these things. And I was like, now I got the guy that was there, and he just said it, and he looked so fucking sad, man. And I just couldn't fucking talk. I was like, all right, man. I just left it alone, man. He was like, man, they tried to give me a medal. I didn't even want it. I couldn't save everybody. You're like, okay, this guy's not like this guy's not lying. He's legitimately fucking like bothered by this thing. Yeah, but there's all these rumors. Man, there's people you would never think cry, man. You would never think you'd see some people fucking cry like that, man. People were crying like babies, bro. I would never think that, man. You was like, I would never thought you would see people fucking crying, man. Some of the guys, like I would like Davey. I would never thought I'd see Davey cry, man. Bro, Davey was a brawler. Davey would get faded. He tried to fight like somebody from a unit. We go to a club, but Davey would start to. He'd get on one, man. He got on one. He tried to fight this other guy from a unit, Case. I was like, yo, Davey, that's Case. He's like, man, this motherfucker stepped on my shoes. And I was like, Davey, that's Case. He's like, what? I was like, that's Kyle Case. He works in calibrations. Calibrations material. What are you doing, Davey? I was like, Davey, calm down. But he was, and when he was sober, he was a cool guy, though. But sometimes you didn't know if he was joking or not. I was like, are you joking? He had to split anybody, man. I'm just kidding. And sometimes he would be like, are you joking or what, man? Like, come on, Davey. I was like, come on. You would never know if this guy was joking or not. This guy, I was like, he's someone you would not want to throw hands with, man. He was a Golden Glove too. I was like, man, this guy. I think he's someone who he joined. Sometimes you join the military for something else, and then it's called a GT score, and he got put in artillery mechanic. He had a brother that was a corpsman too, like a Marine Corps corpsman. He's like, man, I want to go fight people. He's like, I want to go fight people. I mean, fixing these artillery fucking things. That guy was, bro, man. I seen that guy go out before. That guy, man. I was like, man, you fucking get on. That guy was fucking a beast, bro. I seen him say some crazy sideways shit to a colonel before, man. He got like 2 or 3 DUIs on active duty, man. He got 3 DUIs on active duty, man. He got reduced to like PFC, man. And he got called to the colonel because then after a while they separate you. If you do a bunch of stuff, they'll just kick you out. So they'll separate you, man. Then you get disarmed or discharged. You don't get any benefits. And he went in there. I guess he stood up to the colonel. Not stood up, not disrespectful. He stood up to the colonel. He's like, I'm a good Marine. I'm good at Marine Corps stuff. He's like, all this other stuff doesn't matter. You know, he's like, who cares about all this other stuff and off duty and discipline? He's like, man, if you put me behind a gun or fixing my weapon or fixing artillery places, I'm really good at my job, man. I got a good PMT. He was in good shape, man. He's like, I'm good at the Marine Corps stuff, all this other stuff. And the colonel let him stay in, man. The colonel let him stay just for the confidence of it. Because you hear about it, you know, and I was like an NCO at the time. You hear about things or you're in meetings. I was like, yo, man, the colonel, are they going to separate you? You know, because also he's my friend and concerned about, are they going to separate you, man? You need to get a good job or whatever, resume help. And he's like, no, man, I just went in there and fucking told him, man. He's like, I'm a good Marine at the Marine Corps stuff. He's like, who cares about all this other stuff, man? He's like, I went to Iraq, do my job. Who cares about all this other dumb stuff, man? The formations and uniforms. And so I got some DUIs, like, big deal. You know, I'm not drinking at work. I come to work every day. He was like, yeah, I just went in there and told him, man, straight up, dude. Straight up. You know how New Yorkers kind of have the attitude. He's like, man, I went and told him just straight up, man. Just straight up told him, man. And I was like, yo, man, the girl don't let you stay in. Just the confidence of it. I was like, yeah, man, you just gotta be confident. I was like, whoa. I was like, whoa, man. I was like, whoa. He's like, yeah, man, I just told him, dude. So he got to finish out his contract. But he was right, man. He would do his job. He would do his job, but the guy just like got a couple DUIs, man. But he wasn't a bad guy. But yeah, it was difficult, man. But you saw him get really fucking mad. Like, there's people I didn't think would be upset. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't like the crying for people. But people just really took it. People took that fucking shit hard, man. People took that shit fucking hard. And it's I think the irony too is that like it's cliche, but like I didn't work with McKiskey, but I never heard anything bad about him. If somebody's a shitty person, you'll hear about him. But you hear something bad about him. I didn't hear nothing bad about Trey. I knew Trey. Trey was a fucking good guy, man. And then like he was always trying to bring people together, like a fun guy, like trying to bring everybody together. That's what's the irony. And then the warrant officer, she got hurt. She's a good person too. She's a good officer. But I think people were mad too because like some douchebag like if the douchebags fucking make it, it's like some douchebag officer makes it, and then fucking she's hurt. She can't be in the Marine Corps anymore. And then Trejo's a good guy, and then like some assholes there. You know what I mean? You have assholes that don't like to do their job. You know what I mean? They fucking sit on light duty the whole time. They don't do anything. They don't volunteer for anything, man. And they're like, man, these motherfuckers that didn't do nothing is fucking gonna live forever. You know what I mean? We have this guy Farmer who said in Iraq, he was on light duty the whole time. He said in the office we had a female first sergeant, which she wasn't bad, but he said in the office with the female under the first sergeant's ass the whole time doing paperwork, man. The whole time, Farmer, he's like, my legs hurt. We got to Iraq, he's like, my legs hurt. He didn't do nothing, man. And then it came time for re-enlistment. We had a system where like there was only certain people that can re-enlist. Like a certain number set by headquarters of Marine Corps, and it says first come, first serve. So if you got to think about, some people think about, do I want to go to college? Do I want to do this? And they think about it before they re-enlist, right? So Farmer re-enlisted. He was the last person for our MOS, and we were all just like, and the bus spaces were closed. So then nobody in our MOS could re-enlist. You have to change to another job if you wanted to, which is kind of risky. Because if you change to another job and you fail that training, then the Marine Corps can put you wherever they want. It's called needs of the Marine Corps. And I've seen guys happen to it. Like, they re-enlist to be, like, whatever, and they don't get that, they fail the training, or they get hurt, or, like, they don't, some jobs have special background checks. They don't pass the background check. You know, like, you lat move to EOD or Intel or fucking, like, an air wing job or something like that, and you failed the security clearance background, or you failed something like that. You hurt your leg, and then they'll put you anywhere. Then you might end up being a cook. You know, you're like, God, you might end up being nothing. You know, you re-enlist and you just be mopping floors all day. You know, janitorial specialist. You know, or you might go back to the, you know, you could be anywhere. These adults put you anywhere. You know, you're like, oh, fuck, man. You know, so, like, he got them. We were talking about, we were like, oh, man, fucking farmer. The farmer's really, this guy's a fucking, he said, the whole time he said the rack on light duty was like, my legs hurt. It's like, come on, man. Your legs hurt? Get the fuck out of here, dude. He didn't do anything. Not even his base duties. I'm not talking about, like, okay, well, he didn't go out on fucking some missions or convoys. He didn't do even his on-job duty. He didn't do anything. He was on light duty. He just sat in the office and, like, fucking did paperwork and sat at the desk and was like a receptionist. You're like, what the fuck? And this guy re-enlists. This guy, he's still in the Marine Corps. You're like, oh, this is fucking horrible, man. This guy's horrible. You know what I mean? In a bar fight, you would not want Farmer to have your back. This guy was just a lazy piece of shit. And he got the last spot. You're like, this guy's the worst fucking possible outcome. You know? He's not good at the fighting aspects, or he's not good at the technical aspects. He's not even good at, like, fixing equipment or anything like that. You're like, this guy's just horrible altogether. He's not good at the job stuff or the basic Marine stuff. He's just like a fucking bad choice. It's like, man, in Iraq, this guy sat on his ass the whole time on light duty, man. Didn't do anything. Didn't do one single thing. Didn't lift a sandbag or anything. He's like, oh, my legs hurt. You're like, come on, man. Your legs hurt? Your legs hurt, man. Sat there, collected a paycheck. Got hazardous duty pay and everything, man. Didn't even do anything hazardous. You're like, this guy's fucking horrible. But it's sad. It's like people like that. That guy's here. But some guy like Trejo that fucking, like, you know, that's his first time, I guess, that's what, driving that vehicle on that route. You know, that's his first time doing it. He fucking dies, man. This guy's willing to do anything. You know, this guy's willing to do the job and do everything asked of him. You know what I mean? And he fucking dies. And some asshole like farmers fucking, he's still living, right? Probably reproducing, having more kids. There's more farmers now. You know what I mean? Like, literally, that's what was, I think that was so fucking, that's what eats me up too. It's like, god damn it, farmers fucking still, like, you know, because the guys that are douchebags that do the least, and they're still fucking here. And that guy dies. This guy's trying to do the most for the war effort. This guy's actually trying to do his job and everything, you know? And he fucking gets it. It's just really, oh man. Frustrating. But people really upset, man. Trey was a really nice guy, man. He got me to go out sometimes. Before we went to Iraq, I didn't want to go out. He, like, wouldn't leave me alone about going out and hanging out with people. I can be reclusive sometimes, you know, especially with my age difference. It's not that I didn't like it, but, you know, I'm older than everybody in my my grade. And the Marine Corps is very big on, like, hanging out with people in your certain, like, grade level. There's categories of ranks. So, like, I'm 28 years old, and everybody's, like, you know, 18, 19, 20. So, some guys are more mature for age or not, but everybody's, like, really young. You know, the things I like to do, like, I kind of got it out of my system. You know, I can be a big kid sometimes, but it's like, I got it out of my system. Like, you know, like, I was in a fraternity, I live, like, I've been to Tijuana, I've been to Vegas a million times, so it's like, every weekend going out and playing beer pong and all that fucking stuff, like, that's cool, but it's like, I've done it before. You know, like, I've been your age before. I've been your age before when I wasn't in the Marine Corps. So I could go balls to the wall. Like, I've been your age before. I've been, like, going to fucking Vegas, strippers, sleeping in the car with my homies, Beamer, not even getting a hotel. We go to fucking Vegas after class, sleep in this Beamer and fucking drive back Monday for school, or go to Tijuana and fucking get wild and crazy and then drive back. You know, I've done that before. Like, I've been there before. I've been there, so it's like I was kind of like over it. It's like, I'm kind of over it, you know. Like, but Trail was always like, you come out with us, come out with the guys, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, you know, like, like, God, leave me alone, you know what I mean? Like, leave me alone. I'm damn near. I was like 30. I was like, man, I'm 30 years old. Y'all are fucking. Everybody's under 25. That's why y'all are raring to go and chase women and strippers and all this fucking stuff. It's like, man, I'd rather sit down and have a nice, like, candlelit dinner and a bottle of Chardonnay. You know, that's what a bottle of Chardonnay and fucking candlelit dinner is like. I'm over. I'm over. I'm not that I'm over it, but I'm over it all the time. You know, I'm kind of like, every once in a while it's fun, right? To go back and be like a kid again, but it's like I'm over it like all the time. I'm always like I'm just over it, man. It's like I want to show up to Iraq with a nice fucking fully rested, well slept. You know what I mean? No bags under my eyes. I want to go in there, and he's like, oh, I think he might have deployed before. I don't know, but I remember he was saying, he's like, oh, we're not, or maybe he just knew the routine. He was like, man, we're not even going to get there forever, man. You're going to go to this Air Force base, and they keep you there. It's all secret. So you go to this March Air Force base, and then like you don't even know when you're leaving because they don't want you to tell your family, operational security, because they know people are going to talk to their wives and stuff like that. So yeah, you don't even know when you're leaving. There's like anti-terrorism and operational security and like intel things. Like, so you don't even know when you're leaving. You just go to this Air Force base and you just sit there with all your gear. You know, no, I don't think our higher ups even know. Maybe they just don't tell us. But you sit there and they're like, we don't know. Nobody knows when we're leaving. So you just sit there in this fucking hangar at this Air Force base and nobody knows. You're just sitting there and you don't even know, man. All you tell your family is like, we're going to this Air Force base to leave. You know. You get this letter that doesn't even say what country you're going to. It's like deploying to Southwest Asia in support of the war on terror, combat operations, in the war on terror. Like the letters don't even say. So you can tell, like, you can give it to your landlord and cell phone company, but it doesn't even say like where you're going to, Iraq or Afghanistan or Philippines or Djibouti. It doesn't say anything. It just says Southwest Asia. It's like all amorphous. It's all fucking secret. And then you go to the Air Force base. You just sit there in this hangar. You just sit there and you don't know, man. And all of a sudden they're just like, all right, everybody, get ready to go. You just sit there like fucking, I don't know, it's like it could be a day, 12 hours, you don't even fucking know. You're just sitting there waiting, man. Eating snacks, drinking water, they have like little fucking food trays and stuff. You're just sitting there, man. You just don't even know, you know? And then all of a sudden they're like, all right, ready to go, get on the plane. You're like, get your fucking gear on, fucking do the fucking shuffle onto the fucking plane, you know? And then you take this crazy route around the world. You get on, and then you switch to like a commercial plane. It's like it looks like a commercial plane, but I guess it's like a government plane. It's like some weird airline. It's some airline you would never fucking hear of. I was like, what the fuck is this airline? So I guess if you land at an airport, it kind of looks like a normal plane, but it's like full of fucking U.S. military, and you fly around the fucking world. You take this crazy route, man. You go to like Canada, Ireland. We like stopped in Ireland. I think we stopped in like Ireland and then Germany once. And they close the terminal. You go to a part of the terminal where like nobody's there, so you don't mingle with the general public. It's like a fucking closed part of the terminal. You know, and you can get off. I think in Germany they're like, you can drink one beer, you can have one drink, and then like the Germans have canned hard liquor. So they're like, you can drink one beer. You know what I mean? So then we're like, beat the system. One guy was like, hey man, they got canned hard liquor. So we were going to the gift shop and we bought canned hard liquor. So we're fucking, and then there's some people who don't drink. So they're like, hey man, get your one drink and let me fucking get it. So then in the middle of like everybody getting their one drink, and then there's like a higher up watching you check out, like a first sergeant or a gunning sergeant watching everybody to make sure you can get like candy and shit like that to make sure you only get one fucking beer. But they have cans and it's actually hard liquor. So it's like a can, it's full of like Jack Daniels. So then they're like, so then finally in the middle, some officer's like, he saw us fucking drinking, and he's like, hey, what's that can say? That's not, what is that? That fucking hard whiskey? That's hard liquor? And he's like, hey, Gunny, stop them. He's like, that's one can of beer. The alcohol content matters. One can of beer. We're like, fuck, we were in the line already, so we got away with it. So everybody after that, they're like, fuck, go put the hard liquor back. So it looks like a beer can. It looks like a beer can, dude, but it's like actually hard liquor. And they're like, these motherfuckers. He's like, look, man, one beer. That's all you get. One beer. It's about the alcohol content. One beer. No hard liquor. None of that hard liquor at all. It was like, too late. Already got it. And so the rest of us were like, hurry up, drink your shit. And we're just like, give me those cans. He's like, down the fucking hatch, buddy. You ain't fucking, you're not catching me. It was an interesting experience. So I mean, Trejo was right. It's like you fly around the world, you go to all these spots, and then you land in a staging area for whatever that country is. I think Kyrgyzstan for Afghanistan, and then Kuwait for Iraq, and then you switch back to a military plane. You know, so it's like a whole fucking I think it's like a whole week. By the time you leave, it's like a whole week for you even get into the Middle East or like fucking anywhere near Afghanistan. It's like a whole fucking week, dude. So Trejo was right. You know, and you're mostly just on the plane sleeping. If you don't have nerves, you're just on the plane fucking sleeping. You're just sitting there fucking sleeping, right? You know what I mean? So he was right. He was right. But I just didn't want to go out. I was like, man, I want to have a clear head. I want to be well rested. I was like, y'all guys are young. That's why, man. Y'all are young, man. I'm already 30 years old, dude. I'm like, I can't be doing all this fucking shit, man. I can't keep up with you guys. I just can't fucking do it. I can't fucking do it. I can't fucking do it, man. Yeah, but it's sad, man. It's really sad. And I did. You know, I think people talked about that. You're like, oh, if I was there, you would have did it, or we should have fucking got him out first, or Trejo should have got out first, and all this fucking stuff. I don't even know if the officer felt guilty, you know, because he was a good officer. I think any good officers, like, you'd rather you die than your men die. So after the base I was at in Afghanistan, the rotation after our left, somebody tried to kidnap the fucking Prince of England. The Taliban breached the walls of the base and tried to kidnap the King of England. They tried to do it at the airfield, which is like pretty strategic because you're thinking like aircraft mechanics and pilots. The dice they rolled was wrong because it was a Marine Corps airfield, and every Marine has to go to some infantry school. Even the officers have to go to some infantry training. Unlike the other branches, the Marine lawyers even have to go to it. So the other branches, the lawyers go to like a special course where, like, they don't get the hardcore combat training because they're not going to be out leading troops. But the Marine Corps is different. Like, even the officers have to be, like, somewhat basic infantry qualified. I was like, y'all picked the wrong flight line. It was like, good move, just wrong flight line. You know, and Marines are dying. More than the other branches, they're dying to get calm. You get some assholes like Farmer, but overall the culture is like, people are fucking dying to fucking pull that trigger. They're dying for it. Even the mechanics and secretaries, they're, like, dying for that shit. They're, like, dying for it. Like, I wish a nigga would. They're dying for that shit, dude. You know what I mean? Because they're dying for it. So they breached the walls of the base. They tried to kidnap the Prince of England, but it was like a U.S. and Marine Corps flight line. So like fucking bad news. So the mechanics fought him off, and then it was the officer charged out. That was a pilot. The officer, I think it was Lieutenant Colonel or something. He charged out with a pistol, AK-47s versus pistols. You know, but officers and higher ups only carry a pistol and stuff. I think pilots all together just carry pistols instead. He charged him with the fucking pistol. I think when the officer died, that's made the troops really rally, and they fucking like fought off the Taliban people. You know, it was a good move, just bad fucking. It was like a bad fucking section. You know, and I think it was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, y'all picked the wrong fucking part. Y'all picked the wrong other part of the base to breach. It's a whole complex of like, U.S., Netherlands. It was mostly U.S. and British, but there was like some Netherlands people there. I went to a hospital to donate blood, and it was like some fucking like, I don't know where, like Dutch or something. I don't know. There's some European. It was like some European. It was on the British. There's some European people there. I don't fucking know. There's all kinds of people. It seemed like Highlanders with their fucking skirts, their fucking kilts and shit. Who was it? I don't know. We went to donate blood. It was me and this guy Sanchez. It was like some NATO thing. But there was like some nurses from like, it was like nurses from other countries and stuff. You know what I mean? Like they barely spoke English. They spoke like broken English. I want to say Norway. It was like Norway, man. And I think there were Norwegian nurses or something like that. It was weird. You're like, what the hell? There was like a mad cow outbreak and shit for the British. So they wanted people to donate blood that hadn't been to England and stuff. They had like tainted blood. The Brits had tainted blood from mad cow and shit. You see, it's like all these complexes, and you go through these like fucking like trenches. It's like World War I style trenches that connect all the different parts of the base. It's like these fucking trenches you walk through, you know. It's like this fucking complex. It's fucking crazy. It's an interesting experience. When I thought about it now, I was like, oh man, these fucking trenches, man. You're like, oh shit. It's a weird thing walking through a trench like that. You're like, it's fucking really weird. It's really fucking weird. It's really fucking weird. It's a really weird experience. Yeah, but you see, it was people were really fucking upset, man. People were really upset. And I think it's so cliche. It's like, oh, the nice guy gets it. Or like, the no, like, you know what I mean? It's interesting to see how people handle like grief and trauma. It's interesting the way people handle grief and trauma. I had a friend that died of cancer when we were really young, and like it's an interesting experience. But she wanted me to take her virginity before she died. She handled death with very serenity. Like her hair started falling out. She didn't wear a wig or anything, man. And, you know, she would run around with, like, this bald head. And she's a girl with this bald head. And it would kind of, like... I thought it was, you know, she was unapologetic. Like, kids kind of would look at her weird when we were into fucking Hastings or, like, the mall and stuff. She was unapologetic, man. Just unapologetic. I don't know if I'd be that way when you're just like, I'm fucking dying, and you're just like, I don't think she was 20. I was younger. Yeah, we were like, how old? Like 19, 20? It's just really fucking sad, you know. But it's a weird. I'm being fucking. I'm really trying hard to sell the screenplay, huh? But yeah, seeing the way she handled fucking death, and then she asked me to take her virginity, I was like, I can't do it. I can't fucking do it, man. I just couldn't fucking do it. I couldn't fucking do it because like. I just couldn't do it. Like, I didn't want that on my conscience. And then I was like, you're talking as if you're going to die. You know what I mean? It's like, you're talking as if you're going to die. And, like, I don't want to think that. Like, I'm not going to think you're going to die. Like, come on, man. We're not even, like, look how young we are. You have your whole life ahead of you. You're going to get a bone marrow transplant or the cancer's going to go in remission. And she was just, like, I don't know, man. I don't know what the doctors told her in private, but she was just, like, it's not going to happen. Or she was just, like, speaking how it's not, as if it's not going to happen. And I was like, I didn't like that. And I was like, take your virginity. And this, also we're friends. Any guy, any girl or guy, you cross that line, you have romantic relations with a friend, and you can't go back. You can't go back, dude. You can't go back. Like, once you cross that line and that border, you just can't go back. You know what I mean? You just can't go back. Once you cross that line or that border, you just can't go back. Like, once you start, like, holding hands or kissing or jumping in bed with that friend, I don't know about the heterosexual I'm in the homosexual community, but I know heterosexual, you just can't go back. Once you cross that line of friendship, you just can't go back. Once you get that person and you're in that romantic and you take that first kiss or whatever, the friendship's different. It takes on a whole different tone. That's my experience and my personal experience, just seeing guys and girls. Like, once you go that way, you almost cannot be friends again. Maybe after a long time, but it takes a long time, and the friendship's definitely going to be different. It's going to be a different friendship, And I was like, come on, man, we're friends. We've been friends since like 7th grade. Like, I'm not going to cross that line. And then I was like, what's a big? She said she didn't want to die a virgin. What's a big deal? I mean, for like, what's the big deal? But I'm not facing death at 20 years old either. I'm not having doctors telling me that there's a 50-50 chance you're going to live when you're 20 years old. So, I mean, who knows? My deal is like, what's the big deal about it? What's the big deal? And I was like, I'm not fucking... I also had a crush on her older sister, and she knew that, Michelle. The little boy, you like older girls. I had a crush on her older sister, Michelle, but she was just so, like, serene. It's so serene, and she made this joke. She knew I had a crush on her older sister, and she's like, whatever you do, don't date Michelle. That bitch gets everything. I was like, oh, it's so funny. It's so funny. It's so funny for someone to make a joke while they're dying. While they're in the process of dying, and she's making a fucking joke. You're like, whoa. You're like... She's in the process of dying. She's making a joke. Like, she said that. She's like, whatever you do. When I was like, don't date Michelle. That bitch gets everything. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God, Carla. It's like, oh my fucking God. You almost can't laugh, dude. But it's like, But yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's interesting to see the way people handle death. It's interesting, man. It's interesting I spent 4 days with this guy who, like, tried to save my friend and couldn't save him. It's interesting. It's like, man, I spent 4 days in another country, in Qatar. I don't speak the language whatsoever. We didn't even speak the language whatsoever. We're like 2 guys alone in this country, and I'm with this friend, and I couldn't, he couldn't save my friend, and I felt bad about asking for it. Then I was like, why did I ask him about it? You know what I mean? Why did I ask him about it? I was like, I had to fucking ask him. Like, I should have just shut the fuck up. Because then I felt bad for him. You know what I mean? I felt bad for the guy, and he's like, man, I tried to give him a medal. I told him I didn't want it, man, because I couldn't save everybody. Then I was like, oh, man, Then I realized that it wasn't true, right? He actually tried to save her. He actually did the right thing, but it's like, the female warrant officer was the first person he could get to, probably. She was the first person to go pull out, and he couldn't get to other people. I think the door gun on his neck snapped on impact because it flipped, so he probably wouldn't make it anyways. And then Trey was in the passenger seat, or the driver's seat. So, I mean, you have to get to the steering wheel, cut the fucking thing off, cut the fucking seatbelt, So, I mean, he probably did the best he could. And then I'm thinking, like, if I was there, I was never, like, every Marine Corps can swim. You got to pass swim call. I wasn't the best swimmer anyways. So, like, what am I going to... You're like, what am I going to do? That guy's got the hardest swim call than me. Like, like, what am I... You start thinking of all these scenarios, like, what am I going to be? I went to this other thing where there's a Marine some like group therapy session. There's a Marine intel guy who said he planned a route and the route got ambushed. He said he felt bad, you know. He's like, I felt bad. You're like, oh. People deal with these things. You're like, oh man, he felt bad. And you're like, what are you gonna like? You didn't know there was fucking insurgents on that route. You know, you planned the best route possible. He's like, I'm planning this route. A bunch of people got killed. You know, it's like interesting. You know, I talked to a guy who said one of my fraternity brothers. He's like. He gained a lot of weight when we got out, and he was like, I was in Marine Corps infantry, and I was like, well, interesting. And I saw a picture, like, oh, wow, that's crazy. But he's like, he was in the first Gulf War, and he's like, oh, I thought about some of the people I killed had families. Like, had families and wasn't really necessary. He's a lawyer, but I was like, you can't, those thought silos can be hard. Those thought silos can be hard to deal with, man. Those thought silos can be hard to deal with, man. Like, really hard to deal with. You're like, oh, what? You know, I deal with that. Oh, man, I shouldn't have volunteered for that fucking airfield, man. I should have fucking been there. You start dealing with those things. I should have fucking been there, man. Like, god damn it, why did I do that? And then you start thinking that, like, what different would happen? Like, what would you do differently? You know, what would you do differently, man? What would you do differently? You know, one of the characters I created is kind of is dealing with some things from like. Some war trauma in his own way, his own fucked up way, you know. But it's interesting, man. I seen guys like treat their kids like fucking troops, man. You know, I seen a guy in a barracks. He made his little boy was like climbing on stuff. Like the little kid's on a military base. And a kid, or I'm not gonna gender any kid, any guy or girl. There's all these trucks and pull-up bars and shit. And of course he's like running around. He's like getting. Like, oh, it's so fucking exciting. Like, I'm really in G.I. Joe, you know. So it's like a fun thing for a kid. There's pull-up bars and all these fucking things, and fucking like you know, like we're next to artillery things. Artillery's in the distance. You know what I mean? It's probably like really like stimulating for a kid. You're like, oh my god, it's stimulating. And then like he's like making his kid. He's like, hey, be quiet. Like stand at parade rest. It's like this military position, and he's like, get down and do push-ups, and I was like, man, dude, you're so deep into this thing. You're so deep into it. You're treating your kid like he's like a recruit, or he's a private. And I was like, man, he's a little boy. Let him run around and be crazy. Let him run around and be crazy, man. Let him run around and be crazy. Like just let him be. Don't treat him like he's a fucking little Marine. What's gonna happen when that kid grows up, man? Let's think about that. What's gonna happen when that kid grows up? I was like, you're treating him like this in public. I know at home you probably doing fucking side shuttle swaps and fucking doing all the kind of things. You're just like, man. You're just like, man, dude, like let him be a fucking little kid. Let him fucking be a little kid, man. Just let him be a little kid. Of course he's a fucking excited. Nobody cares, you know? And I'm guilty of that too. So like, you're not supposed to say public displays of affection in uniform. You're not supposed to hold hands, do all this thing like that. So then, like, I was away from my daughter, and then she moved to Camp Pendleton, and she was really, like, she was a daddy's girl. She's all really, like, oh, man, even when she was little, I called her my shadow. Like, if I was in the kitchen, turned around, she was right behind me banging pots and pans. Like, she was always, like, it was, like, fucking, I couldn't move. And if I moved, she was there. My ex-wife was like, let her see you eat your vegetables. It's like, why? Because if you don't eat your vegetables, she's not going to eat it. Like, she was, like, a perfect imitation. If I got mad and dropped the F-bomb, she's doing the F-bomb. Middle finger, she's a middle finger. She was like a perfect little clone. Like everything I did. It was almost unnerving. You know, it's just like, you know, some other families would come in, like her aunt or grandma, and the minute she saw me, she'd like run to me. You know, and even one of her aunts, who's passed away now, would be like, man, you're always about your dad. There goes, go to your dad. Everybody, your dad's here, you're not gonna listen to nobody. Like she was like that. She was like a little fucking clone, man. Like a little fucking clone. Unnerving. But one time, like, I was in uniform, and we're somewhere, I don't know where we're at, like, somewhere in the store or something like that. And then she was, like, she was always hanging on me. Like, everywhere I moved, she was hanging on me, pulling on me, holding my hand, like, hanging on me all the fucking time. I was like, Asia, no public displays in uniform. No public displays in uniform. She's, like, asking to go, she's, like, asked to go to Iraq with me. She's crying at the airport. She wants to go to Iraq with me. You know, and I'm just like, Asia, I was like, Asia, come on. You can't, calm down. You can't go to war. You know, I gotta explain to her geopolitics. You can't explain to a little kid. You know, you can't explain it to her, you know. You're like, she wants to go to war with me. She's doing this. She's always hanging on me. But one time I was like, hey, Asia, no public displays of affection in uniform. Can't be kissing on me, holding my hand, all this fucking stuff, in uniform. Messing up the uniform, all this. But then, I mean, she's being a kid. And I was like, in the grand scheme of things, I was probably wrong. Those are the Marine Corps rules, though, right? But I mean, like, in the grand scheme of things, like, oh, she's being a little girl. She's a little girl and her daddy's wearing his uniform and she wants to be all over him. Even when I wasn't in uniform, she was always like that. She was all over me, or, you know, even when she was little, if I was playing Xbox, she's right there playing Xbox. Before she even she didn't even know what the controllers could do, and she's just pressing buttons. You know, I seen her one time sitting there in front of the TV, she's pressing buttons, and the Xbox not even on. And then I realized, oh, she's just imitating me. She's not even playing the game. She's doing exactly what I was doing. Like, she saw me playing the Xbox, she starts playing the Xbox. You know, she's sitting there with the TV off as a kid, pushing the buttons. I was like, you don't even know what you're doing. She saw me at the computer. She stuffed 7 CDs in the CD-ROM drive before. I don't know how she did it. I don't know how she did it. I was actually not mad. I was like, I'm actually pretty amazed. I was like, I don't know how the fuck you did that. There was like 7 CDs. I opened up the CD-ROM drive and took it apart, and there's like 7 CDs. And she's like sitting there smiling, and I'm just like, oh, you saw me put a DVD. She saw me put a DVD in there, and then when I left and turned my back, she went and got a whole bunch of like copied the DVDs. Like that's what you see the backup data on DVD-ROMs. And she went and got a whole bunch of, I had a stock of DVD-ROMs. She went and opened the pack. While I left the computer somewhere and went to the bathroom, and she got the whole pack of DVD and stuffed them all in there. so then I came back from the bathroom, and she's sitting there smiling, and I'm just like, Asia. I'm like, Asia, you can't, like, Asia, that's not like, I know you're trying to be like me. I was like, so, and at first I was mad because I got to buy a new DVD-ROM, and I was like, I'm actually kind of impressed that you got 07 in there. I don't know how she did it. And she's just smiling. I was like, I never realized, oh, you're just imitating everything I do. Like, everything I do, you're imitating, you know? She's a perfect little mimic. Everything I did, man. Everything I did, you know? It's just like, and then she got to a certain age, I think 12, 13, where she's her own person, and some habits were the same. Like, she always wants to hang on me, be right under me. But then some things, it was like, she became her friends become more influential. Lady Gaga, Justin Bieber, the culture, Daft Punk, whatever she's into. Then she sort of has her own persona or personality, you know, to a certain extent. But until then, she's like a perfect mimic. But I remember, like, those are some of the things I put on the screenplay. Some of the emotional events, you know. But it's really, like, it's really interesting to see. It's really interesting. It was just a really interesting experience. And sometimes I thought about it over now, and I have like some regrets. It's like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't say anything to that guy about like trying to save Trejo, because I bet he feels bad enough. You know, and I kind of ruined the vacation. Like, I ruined it. You know what I mean? Why did I even fucking talk about it? You know, we have 4 days in Qatar. We could have been having fun, and I had to talk about it. I had to ask him about it, you know. But I heard all the rumors. Like, I want to fucking know. I want to know the truth. I don't want to hear all the fucking, like, nonsense. I want to hear, like, what happened? You were there. What really happened? You know? Like, I knew this guy. This guy's my friend. Like, what really happened? You know? And then I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't say anything. But it's like, you know. Then I'm like, and then my daughter's like, oh, maybe I should have just fucking let her give me a hug. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? Out in public, who fucking cares? If somebody says something, I'll tell them to kiss my ass as my daughter. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't spend 20 years in the Marine Corps anyways. I could have just told them, kiss my ass as my daughter. Like, fucking, don't give me the permission. Like, I'm getting out in fucking 1 year anyways. Fuck you. You know, why was I so big on, it's my kid, right? My kid's more important than the rules, right? You know? I don't know. I don't fucking know. Not think about it. Maybe I think about the little issues I have for my mom, like my dad. Maybe I fucking psychologically traumatized her. Maybe I psychologically traumatized her. Maybe she's carrying that around. My dad wouldn't give me a hug. He's like, oh, this. Maybe she's gonna be a cold person. You know, maybe she's dating some guy right now and she has like a little bit of cold personality and she got it from me. You know, it's like, my dad never hugged me. My dad didn't do this. And it's like, oh man, I had to, you know what I mean? That was part of the job. That was the job, you know? That was the job. If anybody ever reads the book Mindhunter, he talks about that. So he started the FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit, and he talks about dealing with, I think he had 2 little girls, he had 2 daughters, and he talks about like coming home and bringing his work home, like crime scene photos and stuff like that, and like his wife found it once, and he talks about a story about his daughter, like his daughter fell and she hurt her leg, or she fell off her bike and got a scrape, or something that little kids all the time, like, fall, they're playing around, they hit them, do this, scrape something, you know, toddlers, do this, do that, fucking whatever, touch the hot stove, you know, doing something fucking, you know, they're all curious about everything, you know, modern living, they're all fucking curious, you gotta teach them how to be a human in modern fucking society, because they have all these things we created that are unnatural, like stoves and lights, you know, your kid can't fuck with the light socket. in the history of human, light suckers aren't natural, right? Certain things like animals and we have like innate understandings of, or like, you know, like instincts, you know what I mean? The things, if you ever read on form, you see things animals do instinctively, you know, like suck a mom's tit. You see a dog and it starts nursing, or you see a baby, it starts nursing. You don't have to teach it. It's like reflex. But certain things, it's like, raising kids are difficult now because you have to teach them to deal with all these things that are like, we're getting more and more creations and inventions. And I'm not a favor of like being a caveman, but like we're getting more and more creation and inventions that makes it difficult. We have to like so much things kids have to process, or even adults have to process. Like lights, this. Now social media, don't do this. TikTok, don't do that. Tell my daughter, hey, don't put this on your Facebook. Don't post this. It's gonna be there forever. You might get a job and someone's gonna look at your Facebook and see what you did. Don't do that. Don't be twerking. Don't do that. Don't do that. Be careful. What if you want to be a lawyer and there's twerk videos out there? What if you want to, you know, you got to fucking do all these complicated things now. Don't be sending like topless photos to this fucking boy because he's gonna put it on. He's gonna send it to all his friends on a football team. You know, or all his homies. There's all these different things. The world is getting so complex. You know, and I'm thinking like I should have just let her fucking hang on me. Who cares? Who cares, man? Who cares? You know, and I'm thinking, man, I should have just let her hang on me. Should have just let her do that. But so he talks about his daughter like hurt her fucking leg, and then he was being callous. He kind of brushed it off. And she was crying. And he was like, hey, just kind of like, shut up, be quiet. And he said he brushed her off. And he's like, you know, for him, for his world, her problem wasn't a problem. It's like, look, this is what a problem is, you know, he's seen somebody chopped up. He's like, he saw somebody chop up a little girl. He's dealing with the worst of the worst. You know, he's seen people like kidnap kids, chop up. He's dealing with the worst of the worst. Like the crimes that the cops can't solve. They don't have they can't figure it out. It's so horrible. Like the local police have to go to the FBI and get fucking assistance. He's dealing with Atlanta child murders. He's dealing with really horrible things, serial killers. And he said like her problems. He said her problems seem so insignificant to me. He got desynthesized. You know, and he talks about that. You know, and I remember sometimes my wife would tell me that. She's like, "Oh, your daughter prom date got stood up." I was like, it's a big deal. Suck it up. And he's like, "It's a big deal to her. Like it's her prom. It's a big deal to her." You know, and it's like, oh, okay, all right. You know, like, be nice. And she gets in. I'm like, oh, it's not a big... Like, everything's important when you're 17, right? 16, everything's so important. It's like, it's not the end of the world, right? It's not the end of the world. It's the end of the world when me and your mom get divorced and she gets half of everything. that's the end of your world, when somebody gets half of everything. When you're adult and you have rent and mortgage payments, and then that might be the end of your world. But it's like, when you're 16, like, what are you invested in this guy? A fucking, like, a corsage, a fucking dress, like, what big deal, man? A new car? Like, that's a big deal. Like, for me, like, I'm an adult, like, this is a big deal. When you get divorced and there's kids and all this, like, that's a big deal. But it's like, hey, it's a big deal to her. I'm like, all right, you're right, it's a big deal. I should have just let her hang on me. It's like, it's a big deal, you know? But it's a big deal me leaving. She said that. She was, like, crying and, like, I want to fucking get in your pack and all this. I was like, oh, Asia, come on, dude. You can't, like, come on. She's like saying all these things about what she can do. I was like, come on, dude. I'm at the airport and I gotta leave, and it's like, come on, dude. And I felt like I was being a little bit mean, but I wasn't being mean. I tried to be nice, and I was like, okay, dude, I can't, like... And you're this like 13, 12, I think she was maybe 11, 10? You have like 11, 10-year-old trying to tell me like what she can contribute to the Marine Corps during the war effort. You know, it's like, oh, I can do this. I was like, Asia, calm down. It's like, Asia, calm down. Asia, calm down. Calm down, Asia. Calm down. You can't, like, calm down. Calm down, Asia. So I told her to calm down. I was like, calm down. You're not. The Marine Corps, we're good. We got this. We got this. I got this, Asia. I got this. It was really heartbreaking, though. I felt bad, dude. I felt bad. And you're like, what are you going to say to her? She's all crying, like, what am I going to say? And you can't be, you know, and I couldn't be mean. You can't be like, come on. You got to be this tall. Must be this tall to get in a Humvee. You're just like, huh? Okay, Asia. Like, look, dude, look. This is what's going on. But she really said that. She'll have this all, like, story like, I can do this. I can do this. It's like, you can't do this. You can't do this. You don't want to do it, trust me. Some of the stuff you don't want to do it. You know, first of all, let me see you do 10 pull-ups. This is the minimum requirement. 4 pull-ups. But I've seen guys do that too. Like, guys are like, oh man, what are you doing? You're treating this little kid. But I was never that bad. But even at some moments, I had my moments, and then I had to catch myself. It's like, oh, what am I doing? Like, she's a little fucking girl. Like, she's a little kid. What am I doing? Like, you know what I mean? She's a little kid. You know, she's a little fucking kid. Like, treat her, let her be a little fucking kid. But I have to fucking like back up sometimes and be like, okay, But I've seen some guys that were really extreme about it. Like, really extreme. Like, you do not need to... That kid does not need to be doing parade vests. That kid does not need to be doing fucking push-ups. You know? Get the fuck out of here. Seriously. Like, get the fuck out of here. I seen that guy's like, man, this guy's a little kid. You would be surprised. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. But those are some of the things I tried to distill into this fictional narrative. I don't know. I think like Nora Ephron does that. Is that her name? Takes things, sort of twists it up. I think I thought I was gonna have something like some Hemingway thing, For Whom the Bell Tolls. And I was like, I don't know. It wasn't quite Hemingway-esque, you know. Not really. But it's interesting things, man. Interesting. What was also interesting, seeing the disconnect between like what's being told on TV and what's really going on there. That was interesting, man. When I went to boot camp, we had one drill instructor, and he said none of these drills know what the fuck they're doing except for General Mattis. He said they're good for a bunch of fancy words. He's like, all these officers, they're just good for a bunch of fucking fancy words. This guy had a Bronze Star with Combat V. It's like, I didn't know what he's talking about. I mean, I wouldn't argue when it comes about the combat stuff, right? But he was like, oh, they're just good for a bunch of fancy words on fucking TV. He's like, the only one who knows what the fuck he's doing is General Mattis. He's like, the rest of them don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know how to fucking win a war. But he said that. And then another thing, he said was like, he's like, America's at the fucking mall. He's like, the Army and the Marine Corps is at the war. He's like, everybody else at the fucking mall. Which, I mean, I saw like I saw some Coast Guard guys in Kuwait. There's some Navy guys out there. The Marines always have Navy guys, but I mean, there's some Air Force guys. Their Air Force is out there doing their part, right? But I mean, I think he meant for like the most part, like most of the heavy listening work thing was like the Army and the Marine Corps. But he said that, he's like, man, he's like, the military's not, he's like, America's not at war. Fucking Army and the Marine Corps is at war. The rest of America's at the fucking mall. He's like, y'all gotta get the fuck over it. This guy was harsh, man. This guy was always fucking with me, man. This guy was always fucking with me, man. And this guy, man, this fucking guy was always till the end. Usually the last, after you pass this thing called the Crucible, after that they stop fucking with you. They get your uniforms ready for parades and graduations, your orders, it's like more admin stuff. This guy fucked with me till the very end, man. I thought this guy really hated me. He was man, I'm telling you, man. This guy fucked with me. People talked about I wasn't good at drilling ceremony. Never mind, I don't like it. But I mean, during drilling ceremony, he would pull me out. I swear to God, he would pull me out every time. It was me and this other guy. What's this kid's name? I can't remember. He would always pull us out, especially me, and he'd like take us to the back somewhere, like an empty building or room, and just thrash us, man. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, man, this guy's always fucking with me, man. He's like, Green, come here. I was like, man, what the fuck? And he pulled me out, fucking started thrashing my ass. I was like, man, what the fuck, dude? I was like, I'm not doing anything. I was like, I'm just marching. He's like, Green, come here. He's like, go to the back. He's like thrashing my ass. I was like, God damn it. Oh, Lucas. It was me and Lucas, man. It was me and Lucas. He was always thrashing me and Lucas, man. He'd take us out somewhere and it'd be me and Lucas in a room somewhere just doing push-ups. So I started like push-ups, sit-ups all the fucking time. I'm like, God damn it. I was like, God damn it. I mean, everybody hated the parade deck, but it's kind of like a break to where you're not running 20 miles. Like, at least you're not fucking doing push-ups. Like, marching is strenuous, and fucking the Marine Corps is very exacting about it. But it's just like, it would be like a break. It's like, okay, at least I'm not fucking doing push-ups. Man, this guy, he would not leave me alone. The last day we have a formation, and we practice it for the graduation ceremony, he made me move. I was on the front row on the end. We call it the little end because I'm kind of shortish, right? So you practice this spot starting the last month of boot camp. You practice this spot. They give you spots and a number 1, 2, 3, and everybody is doing these movements synchronized to that spot, right? So you, the person next to you, it's like these synchronized movements, and that's your spot. So when you do the march and you turn, everybody like one row takes a half step, one row takes a 2 steps. It's like a whole fucking routine you have to learn. So when you march and everybody turns, everybody kind of looks a certain way. It's a certain way. So if you're on the inside, everybody knows what I'm talking about. So if you're marching straight and you make a right turn, the people that are inside have to turn at a certain angle, and the people on the outside have to turn at a big. They have to take more steps, because it has to go around. So it's a certain way you have to do it. So they categorize you by height, right? Because obviously people that are taller have a longer stride. So where you're at, the front or back, and where you're inside or outside, it all has to do with your height and your step. You know what I mean? So if people that are short, you learn that you have to take a bigger step or whatever. Or someone's like really short, you want to put them at the back and on the inside row, like the super short people. So if you make turns, you know what I mean? If you're turning right, they're gonna have a shorter step, right? They're gonna have a shorter step. So you do that. Man, the last fucking day, he had me move to the fucking back. It was the day before the graduation, and he's like, fuck you. He's like, Green, fuck you. Move to the fucking back. I was like, what? We've been practicing for a whole month. And then it fucks everybody up, too, because then the person that switched spots with me, he's used to being in his spot. He's been practicing for the whole month. Actually, it's actually kind of like all of boot camp, because in the first month, they give you a position, and they move it around a little bit. When they watch you march, some guys might they might move it around a little bit. But by the last month, it's set in stone. And people drop out. So sometimes it moves because people quit, people get hurt, people drop out, people don't make it, they get recycled. One guy went UA. He jumped the fence and tried to leave. He ran to the San Diego airport and tried to get out, and he got caught. One guy got all the way to Mexico. One guy quit Marine Corps boot camp. He got all the way to Mexico, and his fucking mom turned him in. His mom told him in, man. He called his mom for money, and his mom turned him in. His mom turned him in, dude. Smooth ass criminal. His mom turned him in. I had a guy that tried to get me to escape. Well, not to get me to escape. So when we did one phase that's in Camp Pendleton, the field phase, he tried to get us to sneak out and go to a McDonald's. And one kid got caught going to the McDonald's. I didn't participate. I was like, man, y'all fucking crazy. But one kid got caught going to the McDonald's. He did some Marine Corps combat shit, snuck out in the middle of the night. But you think you can look like a normal Marine. He had his uniform on. He's like, you look like a normal Marine, but you stand out. You look like a recruit. Because you've been in the field all day. You're smelly. You haven't taken a shower. Normal Marines, when they get out the field, they're going to go take a shower. It's like, you're a recruit. You can't do it. We take these really short showers. It's like 2 seconds. You get in the shower for 2 seconds. It's 2 seconds and you're fucking you're in and out, right? So, like, you're clean-ish. The last week you might really get clean because that's when they start to ease up because you're getting ready for graduation, your family. That's when you might really get clean. They start letting you take showers by yourself. But until then, you're clean-ish. You're never really fucking clean. It's a weird smell. It's a weird smell with recruits. It's like, it's clean-ish. So you can smell a recruit coming a million miles away. You can smell them. And your uniform, you don't know it. You think you look like a normal Marine, but you really don't. You know what I'm saying? You really don't, man. You have these blue tags on you that designate if you're fat. You have a blue tag if you're underweight. You have these little things that are like a little bit different from a normal Marine. You're just a little bit different, man. You know what I mean? And you look different. You don't realize it, but you do, right? So he snuck away and he got caught. I didn't even make it to the McDonald's. I think he got caught in base housing. Somebody saw him. Somebody was like, "This looks like a recruit escape. This looks like a recruit." And MPs came and got him, took him back to training. He got injured. He got NJP and he get drops back. You get dropped back. You get cycled to another platoon. So he has to do the training over again. If you do something bad enough, I think that might kick you out. But this guy got dropped out. This guy fucking, So then it adjusts a little bit by people move. But by the last month, it's like set in stone. Right? The last month is set in stone. Unless someone gets hurt. There's one guy that was Muslim. They broke his foot. Tula, they broke his foot. I swear. They broke this man. This guy joined the Marine Corps in the middle of a war. And a lot of those instructors and stuff have been in combat. And his name was Abdullah Muhammad. I was like, man, he joined the wrong branch, man. They broke this kid's foot, bro. He turned up with a broken foot. And Joseph was like, which foot is it? He's like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to stomp on it. He's like, I guess it's that foot. Somebody broke his fucking foot, man. Your name is Abdullah Muhammad, though, man. I mean, all things being considered, you have a right to be there. But your name's Abdullah Muhammad, man. We got one drill instructor there who got his eye shot out. He had a glass eye, man. I don't know, man. This guy might have got shot by a guy named Abdullah Muhammad. Or he might have lost his buddy to a guy named... I don't fucking know about that, man. He turned up with a broken foot. He got out of there. Then one guy got dropped because he wasn't yelling. I thought that was mean. He wasn't yelling loud enough. They like you to yell, let me hear your word. We're like a man, sound off. And he wasn't... They said his voice... He was doing the bare minimum, too. So the bare minimum is like 5 pull-ups. And he could do 4 or 5. He was doing the bare minimum. And they're like, you've been here fucking 3 months, and all you can do is the bare minimum? He's like, look at you. You sound like a little fucking girl. He's like, you fucking talk like a bitch. And he's like, you're fucking out of here. The senior drill instructor was like, I'm not going to let you be in my Marine Corps. There's no way you're going to be a Marine. No fucking way. They talked to him on the last week, man. I thought that was savage, man. Because the platoon, you get to be like, work together. But I thought that was savage, man. But the last fucking week, he technically passed everything. Some guys they let slide. Like there are some guys who are a little bit overweight. They're supposed to put you in like body composition. There's a fat boy platoon. There's a platoon where all they do is work out all fucking day. If you're overweight, they'll send you to that platoon. And you just fucking go there. And all you're fucking doing is calisthenics and cardio all fucking day. You know what I mean? But some guys that were overweight, they'll let you slide, man. If you're like a good Marine and you fucking seem like you're gonna be good for the culture, they'll let you slide. There's a little bit, they'll let you slide. So like this guy Buck was really big, they let him slide, he was overweight. Some underweight kids, they'll let you slide or like that. They'll be like, oh well, he's a good Marine, he'll probably in the fleet, they can fix him, he has the potential, they'll let you slide. That kid, they did not let him slide, man. He was like, there's no way I'm gonna let you in my Marine Corps. I was like, nah, that's savage, man. Technically he did everything. He didn't fail anything, man. He was just doing the bare minimum pull-ups. They're like, you do the bare minimum. He's like, you're the bare minimum of everything. And he's like, and you sound like a bitch. Look at you. Fucking look at the way you sound off. And they made him stand at the front of the platoon and like, yell. He's like, yes, sir. And he's like, yell louder. I was like, yell, sir. And I was like, he's like, you're not gonna make it. He's like, you're not. He's like, we're dropping you. I was like, I fucking dropped him, man. We had a guy from South America who didn't speak English. They let that dude fucking pass. Havika E. Garcia. This guy spoke no English. All he could say was yes, sir, and no, sir. And he said them at inappropriate times. They're like, are you a fucking loser? I think you're a loser, Havika. And he was like, yes, sir. Most of the time he said yes, sir to everything. That's all he said was yes, sir, man. He was just like, yes, sir. And he'd be like, what? Like, yes, sir. Whatever they said to him, he would just say yes, sir, man. That's the only thing he could say in English, man. We would like cleaning the shit, cleaning the squad bay and everything after hours. You got a little bit of time while you're cleaning. You might talk to someone. That guy literally didn't speak any English, man. There was a Mexican kid that had to go translate for him. We never know what he was saying, man. All he could say was yes, sir. Most of the time, all he said was yes, sir. You know what I mean? He would say yes, sir to everything. Drill instructors loved him. Like, you're outstanding, man. Everything they said to him, like, yes, sir. He's like, are you stupid? He's like, yes, sir. Are you gonna die for America? Yes, sir. He would just say yes, sir to everything, man. They let that guy fucking pass, man. They let that guy pass. They worked with him, man. They assigned a Mexican recruit to be his shadow. So everywhere he went, there was somebody that could translate him. Sometimes you go places with other drill instructors and they'll question you, you'll get your ass ring. But they had his other rooms to help him with his medical, his paperwork. This Mexican kid, they made sure he made it through, man. To teach him the drill and the marching and everything, man. They made sure he made it through, man. But I think they just, I don't fucking know. He was physically fit. He did the pull-ups. He could run. He fucking passed the rifle qual. I mean, they let him pass. But I mean, that one fucking dude, man, they just didn't let him fucking. The last day, I was like, man, this guy won't do all that. And sometimes they recycle you, so you try it again. They didn't even recycle him. They fucking set that guy. I was like, man, this guy just fucking spent 3 months of his life, and this guy got fucking kicked out. I was like, man, that's fucking savage, man. 3 months on the last week, right before graduation, they just fucking kicked him out, man. Kid bought his uniforms and everything. Probably called his family. He was graduating. I was like, yo, that's fucking savage. They're like, there's just no way you're going to make it. He's like, no way. He's like, look at you. You sound like a little bitch. That's what they're saying. Like, you only do fucking, look at you, bare minimum pull-ups. You sound like a little bitch. He's like, there's no way you're going to make it. That's fucking it. I was like, that's fucking savagery, bro. Breaking savagery. Abdullah Muhammad, he graduated with a broken foot, but he went to 29 pounds with me, like communication school. And then the foot got so bad, he got put in traction, man. He permanently disabled, man. He got permanently disabled, man. Because he was trying to suck it up and make it through the training. And fucking, whatever that foot break, the fracture, he got permanently disabled, man. They had to re-break his foot, reset it. And fucking, he was in his room in traction, man. I had to go bring him food and shit. He's like, I helped him out, man. I was like, I don't remember him from boot camp, man. He was in his barracks room with his leg up, like the fucking elevated like that, man, for like a whole month, man. Somebody had to bring him fucking food and everything. I went and bought him candy and shit, some DVDs from the PX. He's fucking fucked, man. He's like, he's like, man, I gotta get accept, man. I was like, that's fucking savage, man. He got accept, man. It's fucking savage. With a permanently disabled foot, man. His foot was fucked, man. Permanently fucking disabled, man. Permanently disabled. I was like, man, it's Abdullah Muhammad, man. Abdullah Muhammad. That was his name. Black dude. Black dude. They were taking no chances. I guess they were just not taking no chances. Because you got insider attacks and stuff like that. I guess they were just not taking no chances, man. I think they technically couldn't kick him out. You know, because you have a right. You're a citizen. You have a right to be there. Whatever. Non-citizens have a right to be there. Like I said, people non-citizens can join the U.S. military. You have a right to be there as long as you pass the training and you whatever. You kind of have a right to be there to a certain extent, right? Like you signed up. Like whatever. He's a citizen. You know, they couldn't say no to him. But I think they were just like not taking no chances, man. His name was Abdullah Muhammad. I was like, they were taking no chances with that good dude. No chances, man. No fucking chances. No chances. There are no chances with insider attacks. They were not fucking around. I was like, no chances, man. No chance. I didn't get the vibe that he was like some terrorist or anything either. He just some guy that wanted to serve his country. Maybe some guys that are from that segment work harder. They have something to prove because they want to prove that I'm Muslim and I'm not a terrorist, or I'm a Muslim and I am an American first. You know, I think even in World War II, the colored the Tuskegee Airmen or the 563rd like composite battalion or something like that. There was a unit of all Japanese people who were like got one of the most highest decorated units in World War II. One of the highest decorated units in U.S. military history, and they're Japanese people fighting during the war because they want to prove that they're Americans. You know, that they're American identity, that they're Americans, but this is their country. So I mean, those guys have a really outstanding war record in Europe. They wouldn't deploy them in the Pacific because they thought that they would turn against the U.S. and fight for Japan. Racist, racism. I don't know. People have all kinds of xenophobia, But they let them fight in Europe, and those guys were like fucking highly decorated, or just Tuskegee Airmen, or even if you get into like the pacification of the Plains Indian tribes, the Buffalo Soldiers, the colored troops, fought like fucking hell, man. Legendary, man. The Native American tribes apparently had a lot of respect for him, but I think it was a bunch of former slaves who want to prove to America that they're Americans. They have something to prove, which I mean, like, you're a citizen, you're born here, you're here working. Like, I don't think you have anything to prove to anybody, Somebody have to prove that you're anti-American. You got to prove that someone's anti-American. You know what I mean? Like, you're American. If you're here, you're paying taxes, you're participating in our society, you're contributing something, even if you're selling hot dog carts on the side of the road or whatever, like, you're an American. You're here, right? You're here, you're part of our society. You're an American. That's how I feel, You're here, you're contributing to our society, you're an American, right? You're here, you're an American. What do you got to prove to anyone? But, you got these faces, people have something to prove, and they fight harder, colored troops, Buffalo Soldiers, that Japanese composite battalion, the Tuskegee Airmen. I went to talk about Morpho Port Marines that are first black Marines. They talked about how her training was harsher. They had a separate boot camp for African Americans. How their training was harsher. You got drill instructors that were like probably a little bit racist. But I think they worked harder because they had something to prove. But it's weird that you don't have any. And I served with LGBTQ Marines too. That I felt like a lot of them had something to prove. I was like, what do you got to prove? What do you got to prove to anyone? You have to have something to prove. I mean, to your loved ones, to your kids, maybe if you're trying to get a mate, you got to prove to them that you love them or something like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, what do you really have to prove to anyone except for a person on the other side of the mirror? Like, if there's something that's intrinsic about you don't have to prove anything. If you care about America, you don't have to prove that you care about America. That's it. You know what I mean? If you're a man, you don't have to prove that you're a man by doing something. Like, you're a man. What do you got to prove to anyone? What do you got to prove to anyone? Like, But if you tell your spouse, maybe that's different. You got to prove to a girl you love her, right? But I mean, if you say it, you say it. But what do you got to prove to society that you have that you're willing to do that? I disagreed with that. I mean, I could be wrong. There are a lot of insider attacks, man. Like some chaplain shot up before the hood. I better be safe than sorry. I don't know, man. Maybe they're right. One of my Marines, Huling, died he got shot by an Afghan soldier. That he was training. He was helping him. He's EOD. He was helping them do route clearance, clear their own country of bombs, and the fucking guy shot him. I guess he was undercover Taliban, or I don't know the whole story. It's a war. Maybe he didn't want Americans in his country. Who knows? But I mean, it could have been a right thing. I don't think they should have let him in boot camp then, in my opinion. But maybe they just couldn't. The optics, I think diversity is an asset. We had a kid that was Jewish in my unit. He spoke Arabic natively. He was from the Middle East, so he spoke Hebrew, Yiddish, and Jewish. He had a combat yarmulke. So I mean, I think he adds to the tapestry of America. He's an asset. The Navajo Cold Talkers. Our diversity is an asset. I thought that guy could have been an asset. Like that guy goes to the Middle East and he's Islamic. He has a name that didn't from with. He could be an asset. That mean we're willing to talk to them. Women turned out to be an asset. The Lioness program, they turned out to be an intelligence boom. I worked with a girl that was a former Lioness, and she said, yeah, a lot of the women were willing to cooperate with other women. And they think of women as props there, and they don't really, they're in these meetings, and they're in these meetings, and these guys are playing these insurgent attacks, and they don't realize, they have the women in there just with the boulevard, bringing them food and tea and all that. A lot of them drink tea because it's they were colonized by the British Empire, or they're doing their whatever, and they have this woman there. They don't realize that the woman's listening, and then another woman comes through in the female engagement team, the Lioness, and the women are telling the women are telling another woman. Because a lot of the times, I guess what I was explaining to me is a lot of the women did the wars are relevant to them. They just want to stop. They have kids. They're worried about their kids, and they're going to the market and take. Women are traditionally very big on their kids. It's they don't want to go to the market and have someone to blow up everything while they're trying to feed their kids. Or they don't want any more bombs. They don't want their sons to join either side probably. They want to end. And they get treated bad anyway, so they're willing to spill the beans to a lot of other to the women. Hey, look, my dumbass. My dumbass uncle, my dumbass husband, he's about to blow something up. My husband's friends are about to do that, they're about to do this, he's fucking stupid, and it's there you go, And they have these women around, they think the women aren't listening, and the women, they're adult women, you think of it as stupid, they're adult women. And then also the women were, probably a lot of things psychologically, is that the women had never seen another woman with position of authority, so they relate to that. All of a sudden you have these, female Americans come in and they have sometimes the women are in charge. You're oh man, you're wow, this woman's in charge. The men are listening to the women, and it kind of messes with it turns their brain upside down. So a lot of them cooperated and gave intelligence, helped a lot, because it turns it upside down. They'd never seen that. I was at TQ and there's a female interpreter, and I told her she was she was leaving and having to go to Baghdad for her leave vacation, and I was there's a flight going to Baghdad and get you out here in 2 hours you'll be on this flight. And she said, I'll have to wait. She's what do you mean? She's I have to wait for a male relative to come, because where she lived in Baghdad, it was super Islamic traditionalist. And she's I can't go anywhere. Once I go to Baghdad, I have to put on the burqa, and I have to, a male has to escort me. Whatever neighborhood she lived in Baghdad, that was the rules, or the family, that was the rules. She's I have to have a male escort me. Now I can't be anywhere without him, I was whoa, that's crazy. It's my family and the neighborhood and everything, those are the rules. And I was whoa, that's intense, man. Maybe not the burqa, maybe she just got to wear hijab, but she had to wait for the male. I don't think you have to wear the full burqa in Iraq, but she had to wait. She had to wait for her brother to come. She's I can't be out anywhere in Baghdad without a male with me, because the Islamic authority, whatever. And I was that's intense, man. That's intense, And she goes from being a female interpreter, where she's a trusted part of the U.S. military operation. She's an integral part of it, And we had a female interpreter in Bahariya too. But I mean, we treat them just like the American women. You treat them they have authority. You probably get more respect because they're civilians. There's a certain way you have to treat civilians because they're civilians too. So I mean, you have to say yes sir, no sir, or call her Miss or Mrs. And then you know what I mean? You make sure they're taken care of. You make sure you protect them. If there's food or water, you make sure they're taken care of better, because they're civilians. You're supposed to take care, you make sure they're taken care of. They have position of authority. They're helping you whenever you talk to an Iraqi or something, their interpreter. And then, in second, she goes from being a non-entity. She's a trusted part of the largest military in the world. And then all of a sudden, she goes to being a non-entity. She had to wait for her brother to come. And I was that's insane. I was you're running, you're running. I think they might have get to carry a sidearm too, maybe. But you're running around here as part of the U.S. military, and all of a sudden, in a blink of an eye, now she's back to nothing. She's back to being a dog, literally. It's a dog on a leash. She can't go anywhere without this guy with her. And I was oh, that's insane. That fast. I was that's insane, man. And then I didn't think about it at the time, but now I do think about it with the rise of ISIS. I thought about it, man. That lady, now that's her everyday life. That's her everyday life. Now she's a dog on a leash. like a dog on a leash, man. And that fast. And I was like, wow, and I never thought about it until now. You know, when I saw ISIS, I was like, man, that lady's a dog on a leash now. It's interesting. And we weren't close, whatever, but I mean, she was in that fucking birthing area. Um, you know, that had, you know, she was waiting for like a day for a flight, you know, to make sure that food, snacks, water, all these things. And like, it's interesting. I was like, man, I think about it like, I talked to her. She was a nice lady. You know, I helped her get back to Baghdad. I had to wait for her husband to come, or her brother to come. I think she was married like a day or two, like maybe 2 days. And then like now, what happened to her? Now she's just like, you know, now she's just that's her everyday existence of being a dog on a leash. You know, insanity. You see that our everyday existence is being a dog on a leash. You know, that's her everyday now, and it's interesting. You know, a dog on a leash. You know, we had one at TQ. I want to bought Rhea. I didn't really talk to her that much, but she's a female interpreter too for the security team. What was her name, dude? Everybody talked to her because she was hot, man. This girl was beautiful. Some of those record women took out those burgers and stuff. Those guys are beautiful. She was hot, man. Everybody talked to her on the base. It's like, who's that? He's like, oh, she's the interpreter for the security team, man. She was hot, man. She's gorgeous. You know how guys are. She's gorgeous, man. She was supermodel gorgeous. This girl was gorgeous, man. We're like, man, you're going out and doing an interpreter? Like, you need to be on the cover of Vogue magazine. She was fucking gorgeous, man. She was gorgeous, man. Gorgeous woman. Everybody's like, who's that? Who's that girl? You know, who's that girl? You know, guys are like dogs in the kennel. Like, who's that girl? Everybody's it's like monkeys at the zoo. Who's that girl? It's like, oh, she's a female interpreter. But yeah, that one interpreter, I just think about that, man. It's just a moment we shared. Like maybe a day or two, a moment we shared. Where, you know, a moment we shared. But it's like, man, what happened? I always wondered you know, when I was writing the story and thinking about the ideas to put into it, I was wondered, like, what happened to her? And then I thought about it, man. So I wrote a character in here that's a female interpreter, but I thought about it. It's like, oh, man, what happened to her? I wonder, man, what happened to her? What happened to her, man? I mean, I know she went back to Baghdad and had her brother. I was like, what happened to her, man? Now she's running around somewhere having to follow this guy. I mean, she's smart. She spoke 2 languages. She's she's a smart girl. She's smart, well-spoken. Her English was impeccable, you know, and now that's her everyday life. You know, and I wonder, like, she went from, like, a moment of freedom and being, like, a valued, everybody likes to feel valued, right? She went from a moment of freedom and being a valued part of an organization, whether you agree with the word or not, and now she's, like, a non-entity. You know, now what is she? Now she's just somewhere following her brother around. They probably, like, arranged a marriage for her and betrothed her off to someone she didn't even want to be with. Maybe she got out of Iraq on a visa, you know? And then also when ISIS came, they savaged, you know, a lot of those women, or a lot of those people that cooperated with the Americans, they got fucking, like, you know? They got a price on their head, you know? Who even knows with her? And that's, when you see the reaction to ISIS, that's what it is, man. And it happened, if you look at, I'm really big World War II history buff. If you look at World War II, there's videos of the French. Man, what they did to some of those women that had a relationship with the Nazis, it was savage, man. It was savage, and I'm not pro-Nazi, but a lot of the women were sex workers, or they're low-class, or sex workers, or housekeepers, you know, especially any woman at that time, you don't even have rights. You're talking about that time, even the best woman, educated woman, doesn't have the full rights of a man. The less educated woman is still lower class than the stupidest man. You know what I mean? The dumbest man in the world is still on a higher social status than you. So a lot of those women, they were just prostitutes, and they're not in the military. Like, the French government surrendered. Women couldn't even be in the military back then. Even in support roles, most military, the women couldn't even do admin. You know, they weren't even part of the military. So the guys surrendered your country to the Nazis, and then the women, a lot of women did what they had to do to survive, especially if you're a housekeeper, a menial worker, food service worker, and a prostitute, a sex worker. So, like, that's what they do. They're prostitutes. If you're willing to pay, they're willing to sell it. So a lot of them started being prostitutes for German government officials, for Nazi officials, or German that were occupying the country. And if you look at, there's videos of, like, after you know, we freed France, And then, like, they're taking all the women out there, that any women who had a relationship or sex worker slept with a Nazi person or the housekeeper, did anything, they take them out in the street and they were, like, shaving their head, beating them. It's really savage, dude. Just public humiliation. It's really horrible. It's really fucking horrible. And I'm like, I'm not in favor of, like, the Nazis whatsoever, but you're thinking, like, man, they're low-class women. They're the dregs of society, man. Whoever's in power, that's who they're gonna serve. They're not the one who lost the war. They're not the one who surrendered your country. They're not the one who signed the appeasement with Hitler, right? There's a lot of opportunities to stop Hitler. Like, he was on there, and the European powers appeased them. France and Germany and the U.S. kind of too, we appeased them. You know, as long as he was killing his Jews and gobbling up countries we didn't care about, nobody said anything. And then when he gets to Poland, and then when you realize he's want to kill everybody Jews, then it's like he's a problem, right? And when he goes to Belgium, then he's a problem, right? But I mean, before that, they had the whole appeasement period, right? Everybody who knows anything about world history knows that. There's a lot of culpability that Hitler got that far, and like none of it has to do with any fucking female. Especially with that time where they had no power. Like none of that had to do with any female. That whole calamity, the worst female, none of that's all men. That's all men. That's all men making deals with other men. There's no female in the world had any responsibility for that, if you ask me, right? Ask me, right? So, I mean, these women were French sex workers. A lot of them were prostitutes. They're prostitutes, man. And it's like, they drug them out in the street. It's like this collective, like, anger or, like, shame or something. They drug them out in the street, and they're savagely, like, beating them, shaving their head, like, fucking destroying their stuff, burning their... And it's like, man, they don't have a choice. It's like, you should be mad at yourself. Y'all should be dragging the men. Go to the government, the Vichy officials, drag them out there. Drag the French military. Like, I think the French military fought valiantly. The Nazi army was a fucking beast, right? But I mean, like, a lot of them died. The French military gets bad. But I mean, like, look in the mirror. Look at you. Every man out there shaving that woman's head, look at yourself in the mirror. Why weren't you out there? Did you lose a leg? Did you take a bullet trying to defend your country? No. Did you try to stop the Nazis? What were you doing? Were you part of the French resistance? Were you part of the Free French? How many railroads did you blow up? How many Nazi officials did you kill? How many Holocaust survivors did you harbor? How many concentration camps did you liberate? No, then don't be looking mad at that woman who's like literally a prostitute. And if she wasn't a prostitute, women had no power. So I mean, you're mad at the women. It's like, you should be mad at the men. The women should be going out there pulling the men out of the street and fucking shaving their head and burning them and beating their ass. Like, you surrender our country to the Nazis. You look at that, it's like, once you be mad at the men, they're taking it on the most vulnerable. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you should be mad at the men. The women should be going out there fucking getting mad, beating with broomsticks. You know what I mean? Like, you surrender our country to the Nazis. How dare you? You know what I mean? The prostitute should be mad. You put me in a situation where I have to sell my body to a Nazi. You know what I mean? You put me in that position. You surrender our country to these guys. The prostitutes should be mad. You look at that, like, the hookers should be mad. The hookers should be out there, you know? That's how I feel about that. But you see that, and people take it out on, like, the worst, you know? And the same thing with ISIS. Like, oh, you're going to take it out on the women, right? The women, right? The women held no power. You know what I mean? If you're mad about the U.S. and their allies occupying your country for 20 years, there's no women that's responsible for it. But you're having the women out there, and you're burning them in cages. That's what ISIS is doing. So you're mad at the women who have no power. Your doctrine and your belief is that they have no power. You know what I mean? Like, you believe that women have no power. So why are you mad at the women? They're the ones you should not be mad at. You know what I mean? You see, but it's collective frustration. It's collective anger. That's what you're taking it out on. It's like, okay, yeah, you got occupied by the Nazis. Now we're going to take it out on the fucking women, the hookers. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're mad at, then we're going to take it out on the women. Or you're going to take it out on the Christians. You know, they burnt the Christians alive. It's like, the small Christian population in Iraq is not responsible for you getting occupied by the U.S. military. They're not them, you know. It's not them, dude. They took it out on everybody except for them. Look in the mirror. Maybe you're responsible for it. You know, maybe you're the guys responsible for it. You know, you're such a badass with ISIS having women sex slaves when you should have been out there fighting the U.S. military. Yes, I don't fucking know. You should have been out there overthrowing those Saddam Hussein. You know, like, where were all these badass ISIS guys when Saddam Hussein was running around raping and torturing and gassing Kurds? You know, now you're a badass though. When Saddam Hussein's gone, the U.S. military's gone. Now you're out there. Now you're a savage and you're a hardcore warrior. You know, it's like, where were all these hardcore warriors when Saddam Hussein was in power? Where were all these hardcore warriors? Now you're a hardcore warrior, you know? but you're doing it on, you're taking it out on the most vulnerable parts of society. You know, that's what was really, but this collective anger. Even now with America, I see the similarities. Like, oh, it's these immigrants. Bro, your 401k and your stock, immigrants didn't crash the housing market. Immigrants didn't come in with credit default swaps. They're not affecting your FICO score. They're not controlling interest rates. The Federal Reserve doesn't make interest rates go up or down because of immigrants. Documented or undocumented. They're not taking your jobs. Apple didn't open Foxconn factories in China because of immigrants. If anything, a pool of cheap labor will probably be better because factories might open in America. Right? And then maybe you'll get a management job or a middleman manager or a supervisor job or a QA job at a factory. Right? I don't think most people want to work the way Chinese people work in Foxconn factories. Most Americans don't want to do that. But, you know, a supply of cheap labor will actually, like, bring costs down on things. People might actually be able to open a factory. And you can hire immigrants and give them a job. And you can run a company or something like that. There's a lot of ways you can go. But we're blaming the most vulnerable part of our population. Like, undocumented immigrants. Who are a lot of them getting smuggled across the border. They're paying a lot of money to get here. They're working. They're remitting most of their money back home to third world countries. You know, a lot of places survive in the third world because their families are sending money back home to take care of their family members. And, like, we're mad at them. We're taking it out on the most vulnerable parts of society. And you see this pattern all throughout history. You know, it's like, this is what we're going to blame. This is the problem. You know what I mean? The South lost the Civil War and the Ku Klux Klan is going to go rampage black communities. Like, this is what we're going to do. Every black man that talks, these carpetbaggers, every black man that's uppity, we're going to hang you from a tree. We're going to keep our boot in the black man's neck. And it's like, the reason why you lost the Civil War was not African Americans. You know what I mean? We're not the ones who caused it. We're not the one who caused it. That's you. You're the one that wanted to propagate slavery. You knew it was coming. You saw the writing on the wall. The European powers actually thought about supporting the South because of cotton exports and imports. They're an important trade partner, but they couldn't wrap their head around slavery. It was distasteful. Most European countries ended the African slave trade way before America did. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you lost the war, and it wasn't black people. It's because your attitude, right? The world's moving one way, and you're moving the other, and you didn't see the writing on the wall. You know, when the world's moving one way, you just gotta go with it. You know, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how you feel about trans people. Doesn't matter, man. They've always been around, to be honest. It's just now they can actually have this. There's an actually technology where they can change their gender. They've always been around. It's not anything new. Like, read human history. It's not anything new, man. You know, people call it cross-dressing before. It's not anything new. You know, but I mean, it doesn't matter what you say. People are able to do it, and people are doing it. Get over it. You know, like, get over it, man. A man marrying a man, a woman marrying a man. It's happening. Get over it. You're fighting. It's like fighting the future. You know what I mean? You're fighting. It's like, oh, we don't want this to happen. We can't let black people vote, you know? The Confederacy didn't lose because the black people were voting. We couldn't vote. It wasn't us. We didn't put Abraham Lincoln in office. You know, people think of that. It wasn't black people that put Abraham Lincoln in office. We're not the one who caused it. It's, you know, don't blame us. But, you know, we had the Klan and terrorize them, and this is what we're going to do. No, it's not us, man. I had one coworker at Army Corps of Engineers who didn't like, who I thought was a little bit racist, this old white guy, Bob. But he was saying how Obama's in only office because of black people. And I usually he said something, I let it go in one ear and out the other. I don't like to talk about politics and religion at work, right? Because it inflames people's passions. I don't like to talk about it at work, right? So anything works, like, I don't want to talk about politics and religion. Let's leave it after work. We can talk about it. Like, I don't want to talk about it at work, right? Working hours, let's not do it. But he said something, and I snapped at him. I was like, look, what are you talking about? I was like, if every black person voted for Obama, he would still lose. We're only 12% of 12% of the U.S. population, and the number of people that have been in prison that are black felons, we can't even vote. I was like a lot of the black men in America can't even vote because they got felonies. I was like, if every black person in America voted for Obama, he would still lose. He won because the electorate thought he was the best candidate, and the electorate is majority white people. Like, white people put him in office. It wasn't black people, you know? And also, not all black people are monolithic. You got some Candace Owens and some Clarence Thomases out there. So every black person did not vote for Obama, right? And just like other populations, a lot of black people just don't vote. You know, it's not like all of us turned out to vote for Obama. A lot of us don't vote. Some of us vote for the other side, right? And a lot of us got felonies and we just can't vote. We're disenfranchised. So, I mean, like, we did not put Obama in office. You know what I mean? We're like, how many black people own networks Robert Johnson doesn't even own BET anymore. BET is owned by fucking like, what is it, Viacom? You know what I'm saying? Like, is the CEO of Viacom a black person? Like, we did not put him in office. Like, it's not us, man. It's not us. Y'all did it. You know what I mean? I thought he was the best candidate though. The best candidate. The electorate. The American electorate put him in office. It wasn't black people specifically, right? Not by chance. But I snapped on him. I was like, what are you doing, man? So something's not going the way you want. I think his job is getting phased out. So he did radio stuff. He was a legacy person. So we have this IT department, and he did the radio stuff, right? So there's some places that are you can send data over radio waves. If anybody knows the early internet, they would have like wireless internet, you know, satellite. I think in rural places they still have satellite internet, but it's a rare thing because it's kind of slow and the weather messes it up. So if the weather's bad, it's slow. I worked for a company that did it. It worked like in-flight airlines. You're getting wireless internet, satellite internet. If you're from Oklahoma or like a rural area, people get it out like way out in the woods on their farm because they can't get cable. They don't have cable lines or anything like that, or phone lines aren't that robust, so they get satellite internet. You know, like live out in the woods, they get the satellite dish. You know, that used to be a thing. But the upstream and downstreams are like asynchronous or something like that. I'm taking it so long, but it's like something with the upload and downstreams are off. You know what I mean? So it's not the best internet. You know, DirecTV used to offer internet too, but it's just not the best internet. You know, there's a mismatch between the upload and download streams. You know, and then the weather affects it. The weather can affect it. You know, anything like that. Anything in the atmosphere is gonna mess it up. So it's not the best option. So he did radio stuff. You know, it's just for these sites that are so remote, like at dams and stuff like that. They have something there that needs data or collects data or something electronic, and it's like communications to remote areas. But it was getting less and less used. You know, because you do have satellites. It was like actual radio waves. It wasn't even satellites. So it's like it was getting used less and less. You know, because now it's like they're able to run cable a lot of places, or internet, or phone, or just data transmissions are getting different. You have satellites. So like the job he did, there wasn't a lot of things. He literally did no work. He just went to these radio sites and make sure the radios were up, the transmitters were up, and he had very little work to do. You know, and it was only certain things that it was only these legacy places like dams or something like that. So he had very little work to do. You know, and I think he was about to get fired. I mean, not get fired, but like his job was going to get phased out. Because, like, the stuff he maintained and he had the ability to do, like, the legacy systems, they were just, like, they're not going to be around anymore. So they're going to phase him out. Like, it was a day. Like, I think it was a couple years, like, he's going to be gone. His job is going to be gone. It happens a lot. I worked for Kaiser Permanente. The medical transcriptionist, their job is gone. Everything's done by computers now. You know? It's all gone. They don't work anymore. You know? But these jobs get phased out. And it's like, yeah, well, you know, that's the way of the world, you know? That's the way of the world. So I don't know, he's like kind of testy, and I'm like, this guy's having an attitude, and it's like, man, Obama didn't get rid of your job, and then Trump came in office, and you're still going to get phased out. It's like, maybe that was the anger he had. It's like, you're not losing your job. You think the president of the United States is not, unless it's something really dire, the president of the United States is not fucking getting personally involved in like an employee, a low-level government employee's job. Like, he's just not getting involved, right? He's not getting involved. Unless there's a big case or something like that, or something on the news, he's not getting involved. It's like, you're losing your job because, like, the technology is not important anymore. You're working on something that's obsolete. And it happens to everybody. We all have to deal with that. Or, you can retrain yourself and do something that is useful. And that's the only two options, right? That's why you're losing your job. It has nothing to do with Obama or black people. That's why you're losing your job, right? So instead of sitting there, and you knew it was coming, and he was sitting there all day not doing any work, he had no work to do, so you're useless, right? He was literally almost useless, right? So, here's what you should do. You know you're useless. The boss sees you sitting there doing nothing. You're not contributing. It's like 99% of everything we do didn't have to do with radios, right? So as far as you're the least useful person in the whole IT department, objectively. So, what do? Make yourself useful. Instead of sitting there all day, not doing anything, go and take a A+ class. Go and take a computer repair class. Go take a network engineering class, right? Some of the principles of data packets are the same. You would have to read like the way data packets travel over radios, the same way data packets travel over the wire. Go make yourself useful. Go learn a new platform. Go learn the VoIP system. Go to a network engineering class. Then you're still gonna have your job, right? Well, Obama has nothing to do with it. The technology you specialize in is obsolete. That happens. I used to know how to write HTML real good. That stuff, and then you have to go image maps, right? Then I wrote some image maps, and then it's like now I know C++, and I know a little bit of Perl scripting. But then now it's like those things are obsolete, right? Those things are like obsolete. You gotta know Swift or like Ruby on Rails, or there's other things. Those things are obsolete. Like even HTML, it's like yeah, HTML is now they got like XML, right? How about HTML 2.0, 3.0? It's obsolete. You can get Adobe Dreamweaver and the computer does it for you. Anybody can write HTML. That used to be a big thing. I can write HTML. Now nobody cares. Adobe Dreamweaver can do it. WYSIWYG editors, anybody can do it. Wix, and then so it's like you now your job's obsolete. So I mean, if I was depending on HTML as a job, then I have to learn something new. I think I want to start working on computers like token rings, Novell NetWare, those things. And now those things are gone. So now if I want to work in IT, Novell NetWare is gone. So now I have to learn whatever new system. I have to learn Windows like networking, or you have to learn Cisco networking. You have to learn this, or this is the way it is. You know what I mean? VM, virtualware. You have to learn these things, and that's just the way that it is. Amazon Web Services. That's just the way it is, like these, or some of the skills I know are so low level that they're not very, you're not going to get paid a lot for it. When I first started in IT, if you can take a motherboard out and do something, people were just amazed. You could like run some cable, make some Ethernet cables. People were amazed. Like, oh my God, that's amazing. Wow, I can't believe you do that. Now it's just like fucking most kids that are 15 years old built their own desktop gaming rig. You know what I mean? It's not an important job skill. Like everybody, like half the fucking country, 15-year-old kids can do it now. But when I was doing it, it's like, oh my God, you can fucking do it. I can't believe you do that. You're a fucking genius. Or nobody knew that. Nobody really knew it. It was like cutting edge, But now it's just like, it's pedestrian things. It's pedestrian, Now it's pedestrian. Or now things are so disposable, you don't fix them, right? Now half the time these laptops get little netbooks, and you throw them away. Printers go, you throw them away. It used to be like, oh, you can go in there and fix the printer, do this, and it's like a big deal. But now it's like the printers are just throw it away. They're disposable. Go to $100 and get another one. Well, yeah. People blame. People like scapegoat things on a macro and micro levels. They scapegoat things. It's like, is that really the problem? Are these immigrants really going to make your life better if they're gone? Removing a supply of cheap labor from an economic system is probably going to raise costs. And that's what that's my personal opinion. I'm not some genius economist, but I mean, like, I don't know, It's not economists and Federal Reserve people pushing for this, saying that it's a problem to the labor force. It's politicians for political gain. They're, I've never read anything from like, and maybe I'm wrong, I've never read anything from like an economist or like somebody like that saying like this is going to be good for the economy or this is going to create jobs. It's like political leadership that like they're trying to score points. And they're trying to do things that look like it's going to help when it's not really going to help, Anyways, the themes of my screenplay. Anyways, thank you for the people that watch this.